Yo, what is up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to another episode of the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by my song of the day, Rock 2000 to today. How the hell is everyone doing? This is episode number, I believe we're at 22 now. Wow, I'm already at 22. We've done 22 of these. Man, time flies by when you're having fun, and I am so happy that you are here. Little disclosure, if you hear some random bass running through this podcast, it's because yes, I still shoot these out of the comfort of my own bedroom, and my neighbor is bumping music. Don't know what they're bumping, but I don't think it's something that we really listen to here. Ha 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 ha. Well, I hope everyone had a great 4th of July weekend. Now that that's over, we're all back to work, back to the full-time jobs, whippy, woohoo. But I hope that, this podcast is able to shed some light on that and maybe give you a little fun, lighten the mood, maybe deepen the mood. Who knows what kind of direction we're going to take on this one. But we're going to get into, went to a concert this week, so I want to talk about that. The second half of Summerfest, we're definitely going to review that. I got a couple of good stories. And I might go on a rant. I mean, who knows? We're just going to see where this kind of ends up. But before we start, this is time for the shameless plugs. Now, I don't ever do that, like a soundboard. I will literally say that the whole entire time, every single time, because I think it's fun. Now, if we had ads, this is where they would go. They'd go at the beginning so that, you knew where they were. But let me put it to you this way. That's it. I mean, I got no ads. So basically, you're just going to hear me plug all my stuff. Excuse me one second. I gotta quickly do something. Okay, that's better. So, this is the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by my song of the day, Rock 2000 to today, the best rock community on the internet. Yes, I said that. It says that on the page. It says that on my business card. So it actually kind of works. Alrighty, so what is my song of the day, Rock 2000 today? We are the best rock music community on the internet, basically. We're a place where you can come, find new songs, find old bands you used to love, fall in love with rock music all over again. Talk about it with your own opinion freely. You don't got to worry about being censored because we want to hear your unfiltered opinions, straight, no chaser, all that good kind of stuff. So, if you're into us, this is what I want you to do. First, if you're listening to the Chord Progression Podcast, thanks for listening. I love the fact guys are listening. If you are a returning listener, you guys know I absolutely am grateful for you. That's the best way to put it. I'm absolutely grateful for you because this is my passion. This is what I love. I love music. I love talking about it. I can't really play it, but I love listening. I love talking about it. I love immersing myself in it. So this is why I love the fact that you guys are on this journey with me. I want to say thank you. If you are new to the Chord Progression Podcast or anything with my song of the day, Rock 2000 to today, I want to give you a sincere welcome because I am so happy that you guys are here. I love the fact that you're here. And I cannot wait to, have you on as a returning listener. Now, if you're listening to the Chord Progression Podcast, we'll start out this way. We are on 4 different platforms. We are on Spotify. I think that's where I pretty much drive everybody to at this point. Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and on our YouTube channel. So if you want to catch the Chord Progression Podcast anywhere, I've got links in the description below for all those locations. Just, wherever you are. But if you're listening to it, hey, you're listening to it. So I'm just making sure you got that. Also, we have a YouTube channel, My Song of the Day, Rock 2000 to today. On our YouTube channel, we do a lot of great things such as album reviews, and we've got a butt ton coming up in the next 2 months. I mean, August is going to be a ridiculous amount of album reviews for us to do on YouTube, so that's going to be fun for me because I literally do everything for those videos. I mean, I do pretty much everything for all this stuff anyway. I do everything for all this stuff anyway, so we do band reviews, verses, where we pit 2 bands together, see which one comes out on top on 7 different subjects, my top 10s. We answer questions. We just kind of go through all that stuff. It's a fun way to look at it, so please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, link in the description below. I'd love to have you on as a subscriber and to watch our videos and to give us your take on it. Also, we're on social media on 3 major platforms. Facebook. That's pretty much, you're going to get all your information off Facebook. Twitter is where we connect with you guys. And Instagram. On Instagram, what we do is we connect with you guys. We ask you questions. We put out our IGTV videos, which is more of like a behind-the-scenes kind of blog that we really kind of do, or that I kind of do, that really gets you into what's going on. And we also do Instagram live streams every Wednesday night, I should say, not every night, every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for an hour, where I'm on there. I basically have a conversation with you guys. You ask me questions, I give you answers, or we just have a random conversation about whatever. Who knows what's going to happen. And also, probably the most important thing, well, first off, link subscription below for all those. Please follow us. Lastly, if you have an Amazon Echo, please enable the My Song of the Day Rock 2000s Today Alexa skill on your Amazon device. I had to quickly, put her on mute because otherwise she would start talking. So this is what happens. I was, looking at Amazon Music's, My Song of the Day feature. It was something you had to pay Amazon Music for, and it was something that I was not a big fan of. So I thought, shoot, we're going to do it on my own. So every day, you're going to get a new song of the day, and you can listen to it as many times as you want. All you have to do is enable the skill, link in the description below, and then say, hey, Alexa, play my song of the day. Alexa will say, playing your song of the day. And you'll get a little intro, about 5 seconds from, my voice. So, woo! And then you're going to hear the song in its entirety. Once it's over, boom, it's over. You want to listen to it again, just say, hey, Alexa, play my song of the day, and it'll start over. You have 24 hours to listen to that song, and once that 24 hours is over, boom, brand new song comes on. And you can listen to that as many times as you want in a 24-hour period. If you need to wake you up in the morning, get you through the middle of the day, end your day with it. Maybe listen to it when you're down, listen when you're up, listen to your left, right. I don't mind. Just listen to it. I love the fact that you guys are listening to it. It's great for, discovering old bands that you didn't know about, discovering new bands, rediscovering those old bands, discovering new songs you didn't know about, or be like, hey, I know this song. I just don't know what artist is by. Thank you for letting me know that. It's a great way to kind of get yourself back immersed into the rock music scene, or really fully immerse yourself in the rock music scene. Yeah, I always said raw music because, sometimes I can't pronounce my season Ks. But please activate that on your Alexa skill device, and I will be eternally grateful for that. But now, enough with the frickin', shameless plugs, because here in Milwaukee, we always have Summerfest, and in the last episode, I went through my week 1 review of Summerfest. So now I'm on week 2. And on Sunday the 7th, that was the last day. And so I basically am looking between the second half. So July 2nd through July 7th. And I took a look at the lineup, of course. And I knew a lot of people that were end up going to some of these shows. So I looked at, July 2nd. I really wasn't into anybody. I don't think really anybody of prominent rock music variety was really there. So I didn't go see anybody. July 3rd, I decided to end up watching the fireworks, or tried to watch fireworks, but it was very foggy, so you couldn't even do that here. But the biggest thing when I heard about with Summerfest on that one was it was absolutely packed due to the fact that the main headliner at the main stage was J-Lo. Now, again, a lot of people are going to go after that, not necessarily my cup of tea, not necessarily the community's cup of tea at the most part. I know there's probably some people out there that do like J-Lo. More power to you. But I heard the concert was, when it came down to people, because I was talking with the Uber drivers, oh man, there's people were paying like crazy money. There were people that were paying $100, $150. Someone paid $600 to get home from J-Lo. That is absolutely asinine, absolutely ridiculous. But if you're willing to pay it, you're willing to pay it. Myself, I'm not willing to really pay that, so I usually try and walk them because I live like 3.5 miles south of the Summerfest grounds. But that's really it. I kind of have to walk through a little bit of a rougher part of town, especially, walking through around 11:30 midnight all by myself. Yeah, not necessarily the most comfortable thing, but I deal with it. It's not too bad. If I have to run, I have to run. I can run. Who gives a shit? But that's about it. July 4th, so 4th of July. 4th of July was a very weird day for Summerfest, basically because there was no headliner. I mean, so sure, we have all these ground stages that have the ground stage headliners, but the main attraction, the main headliner, the blinky fashy light bulbs, they're the ones that are going to be on the amphitheater stage, and that's you have to pay extra for. So at first, on July 4th, we were going to have Ozzy Osbourne. Now, that was going to be awesome to see Ozzy there, have an actual rock band, maybe metal band, actually there to play an amphitheater show. I was psyched. Wasn't really going to go to because I had plans for the 4th, but I was psyched. Ozzy dropped out of the rest of his tour for all of 2019 due to illness. And of course, I mean, I'm not going to say, why'd you drop out? No, we get it. It makes total sense. Then all of a sudden, a couple bands stepped in, and the headliner was going to be Megadeth. Papa Roach was actually going to open for him, and I was thinking about getting tickets for that. But then we all know lead singer of Megadeth has throat cancer, announces it about a couple weeks before Summerfest hits, and they have to cancel the show. Again, totally understand it. Nothing there. So they didn't have a headliner on July 4th, and I don't really know what the attendance was like for the 4th of July, so I'm not going to really comment on it. Let's go to the next day. We had July 5th. It was a Friday. I didn't go. I had a bunch of friends that I knew in college that were in town, so I got to hang out with them, but they were going to go to the headliner. my roommate slash best friend and two of his friends from college were going to go see the headliner. They were seeing The Killers. Now, The Killers, they're not necessarily that hard rock metal vibe that we go, but I do play The Killers from time to time because they are a very good alternative band, especially, if you listen to that initial album, Hot Fuss, with Mr. Brightside and Somebody Told Me. Great songs right there. Again, that's what I kind of grew up on, so I really do enjoy that kind of stuff. Still, to this day. Not as much as I enjoy, Rise Against, Disturbed, 3 Days Grace, Breaking Benjamin, The Foo Fighters, 30 Seconds to Mars, But of course, there's times where I'm going to pop on those songs, maybe I'll enjoy, maybe I won't. Maybe, I'm going to maybe enjoy them once in a while. And they went to the show, said it was a good show, and that's pretty much all I had about that. Now I'm going to jump into Saturday the 6th. Basically because I was there on Saturday the 6th for a major reason, and that's because a band that I really wasn't really into fully when I started this whole entire project, and I really didn't even care about up until I basically left college, but I'm getting more and more into them as I keep listening to them. It's Skillet, which I know some people are like, oh, Skillet, why? It's personal taste. I'm really getting into Skillet. I can't help myself. I love when they go do the harder stuff, and I'm looking forward to the Victorious album at the beginning of August, which I can't wait to talk about, and can't wait for it to drop. But I wanted to go see Skillet, okay? That was the band I really wanted to go see. I already saw them once this year, and now they're a headlining show at Summerfest on a ground stage. Looking forward to it. And I told myself, even if I have to go by myself, I'm going to go by myself. I don't care. But I'm going to go anyway. So I go there, and one of my good friends, he said he was coming down to Summerfest with two of his friends, and we were all going to hang out. I'm like, okay, cool. Thinking, yes, we're all going to watch Skillet. So I get down there about maybe an hour before they do, and I'm just kind of waiting around the stage, waiting, kind of just seeing what's going to happen, and watching the band that went on before Skillet for a little bit. Now, in that time when I was waiting for my friends, I'm all alone again at a concert, and their thoughts run through my head. I'll get to that later because that's going to be a huge, left turn for where this conversation's going, so I got to jump back to that. But my buddy ends up getting there with his two friends, and this is what my buddy's friend says, one of them. Hey, man, he's like, are you ready to see Atmosphere tonight? I'm like, Atmosphere? What the hell are you talking about? He's like, what, you don't like Atmosphere? I'm like, well, not really, no. Oh, man, who are you trying to see? I'm like, we're staying here. I'm seeing Skillet. And he just looked disgusted at me, while my other two friends are like, well, we kind of want to go see Skillet. So he was kind of complaining about it, and I made him a compromise, I said, if we stay for half a Skillet and we do half of Atmosphere, can we do that? Basically because I wanted to see as much of Skillet as I possibly could. I've already seen him once this year, and I might see him a third time when they're in Chicago with Alter Bridge. I don't know. I'm not quite sure if I want to get a ticket for that, just because the fact of the matter is they're playing at the Chicago Theater, and I really do like it when I'm in a concert hall, like the Rave or the Aragon in Milwaukee, the Aragon Ballroom in Chicago, the Sylvie in Madison, something like that, where it's just an open floor. I love that so much more. It's just more fun for me. It feels like it's more intimate. But they're at the Chicago Theater with Alter Bridge on October 10th. And I saw Rise Against do their Ghost Note symphonies at the Chicago Theater this year, and that venue was perfect for that type of concert. But unless they're doing something softer or more acoustic, but if you're actually going to put on a full-on, more over-the-top performance, you got to do it in more open venue. That's just my opinion. So I might go, I might not. I'm not sure. It all depends on really how bad I want to see Alter Bridge. But I digress, so let's go backtrack. So me and my buddies, I'm not going to say their names just because I don't really feel like, saying their names on the podcast. But we're walking, kind of back and forth a little bit, just trying to kill some time, trying to people watch, see what's going on. We get past this, full-on dessert stand or tent. And we start making jokes about how we should have cheesecake and beer and how bad that's going to taste. We walk about maybe 500 feet. So about almost 2 football field lengths. And this guy starts chasing us down. He's like, hey man, hey. And we're like, okay, what the hell is this guy chasing us down for? I'm kind of concerned. What's this guy chasing us down for? So he says, hey man, and takes a look at my buddy who wants to go see Atmosphere. And says, hey, my friend thinks you're really cute. And then he gives him his phone so that my buddy can look at the girl that he thinks that thinks he's cute. And he's like, you want to go meet? This guy's like, you want to go meet her? So my buddy wanted to go see Atmosphere is looking at me and my two friends. And we're just like, let's go. Because I kind of interested. As we're walking there, I kept messing. I'm like, let's see how fast he messes this up. Because, of course, I got to have some fun with it. We're all having fun with it at that point. So we get to back to the cheesecake booth, or the dessert booth. And he starts talking to this girl that he thinks is cute. And we start talking to the guy, me and my other two friends. We start talking to the guy that ran us down, and this other girl that he was with. Found out that was his girlfriend. So we were talking to them, and they were from Chicago. They were in the military, and they had to be home before, they had to be back in Chicago before, I believe it was midnight. So they're only going to say for a couple songs. They wanted to come, and they wanted to see a band. Just play a couple of songs. And I was like, oh, what band you guys plan on going to see? And without hesitation, they said, we're going to go see Skillet. And I was psyched because now I knew my buddy who didn't want to go see Skillet was going to have to come if he wanted to start hanging out with this girl. So we walk in a different direction because we're going to all go get a drink basically because he's going to get this girl a drink. They're going to get margarita-tinis. Yes, they're going to get margarita martinis. We go there, my other buddy and I, the one that I'm really good friends with, him and I get a beer, and as I'm leaving, I end up knocking into a girl and spilling her whole entire drink. Just all over the place. And she looked at me, she's like, you've got to be kidding me, because she'd been waiting for maybe 10, 15 minutes to get this drink. And they hadn't even really gotten a sip out of it. She didn't even sip out of it yet. And I accidentally knocked out her hand. I felt so bad, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Let me pay for another drink for you, because I just felt bad that, she was waiting for it. She got what she wanted. She hadn't even taken a sip out of it yet. And my dumbass accidentally backs into her and knocks it out of her hand. But, I bought her another drink and everything was all, fancy schmancy. So now we get back to the stage where Skillet's going to perform. And this place is getting more and more packed by the minute. We find a nice spot just to stand and watch the show. And so me and my two friends, the two friends that wanted to go see Skillet, we're all hanging out together talking. And then we look behind us, and there's the guy and his girlfriend, the guy that ran us down, his girlfriend. Then there's our buddy who wanted to go see Atmosphere, and the girl that thought he was cute. And they're kind of just talking, having a good time. He's got her arm around her. They're getting all, little close contact, cutesy-wootsy kind of stuff. And all of a sudden now, Skillet comes on. They start with Feel Invincible, which both times I've seen them this year, that's what they started out with. I'm pretty sure they're just going to start out with Feel Invincible the whole entire time. And I'm all here for it. It's a great opener for the band. I really do think that. So I'm getting into it. I'm jamming out. And my buddy, not the good, my good buddy, and then the friend that he brought, he was like, dude, where have you been hiding this guy? This guy's freaking insane. I'm like, yeah! I'm having a good time. I'm getting videos of Feel Invincible. I'm getting videos of them playing Legendary off their new album. And I'm just enjoying it to all hell. I'm really into it. We look behind us, and there's everybody who wanted to go see Atmosphere, and the girl who thought they were cute just going at it, just making out straight up. And I was thinking, damn, I can't believe he didn't screw this up. Now, after about 3 songs, they had to leave because they had to get back. We get it. They left, and he was kind of riding high, and I'm like, okay, this is good, because maybe I get to see Skillet's whole entire set, because now he's flying high, he's feeling good. And we get to about 10:30, so about a half hour into the show, and he's begging to go see Atmosphere. And I'm like, okay, hold up. I gotta get, I had 2 videos at this point for all my stuff. I wanted to get one more video. That's all I wanted to get, was one more video. All of a sudden I see them bring out the cello player. And I'm thinking, yes, they're gonna end up playing my favorite song at one point during this, and I hope it's right now so I can get a video of that. It's going to be like 10:35, 10:36, and all of a sudden they start playing Awake and Alive, and I'm like, dang it. I really wanted to hear Not Gonna Die. And so I took a video of it, and my buddy's like, dude, you got a video, let's go to Atmosphere. And right something, I'm like, they got the cello player out there. If they play my favorite song next, I am staying until that song's over. He's like, oh, I bet it's not your favorite song. And all of a sudden, they go right into Not Gonna Die, and I am here for it. I'm like, this is my favorite goddamn song by Skillet. I am listening to it, and you can't stop me. He's like, okay. So I'm listening. I'm just rocking out hard. I am in total bliss. I am loving it. Song ends, and he looks at me. He's like, hey, man, so can we actually go to see Atmosphere? he was nice. He was like, you know what? I made a deal with him so that we could all hang out together. So I wanted to hang out with these guys. Again, I'll tell you why in a little bit. Kind of where my head was at that point. Excuse me. But we decided, okay, we're going to go see Atmosphere for the rest of the night. Appease him. Just have some fun. See what happens. Now, I much would have rather have seen and stayed at the rest of Skillet's show and seen the whole entire thing. I really would have liked that. But I'm trying to play the good guy here and just see what happens. And we went by Atmosphere. He was on a much bigger side stage, but his crowd was so much smaller than what Skillet could pull in. I looked at the crowd that was on the stage for the Harley Davidson stage. Smaller crowd than what Skillet pulled in. Skillet pulled in the biggest crowd for a ground stage show. Not biggest crowd for a show overall because the amphitheater had young upcomer Billie Eilish as the main performer, and there were just people in droves of anywhere between mainly between 12 and 20, and then there's some older people there too. But man, it was just ridiculous seeing that crowd let out. I gotta give it a hand to Billie Eilish though. She did have some merch that actually looked like it was just perfectly designed to be sold. I'm gonna give her some credit for that. I am not a big fan of her music because it is not my kind of style. However, again, I gotta respect the fact that she's actually rather original. But enough on Billie Eilish. So, Skillet had the largest crowd of a ground stage. And I'm still baffled why they don't bring in more rock acts. Because when you bring in more rock acts that are very prominent today, I'm not talking about bringing in guys like Foreigner or Styx or Hermits. Yes, Hermits? Shit, I don't know. Or Steve Miller Band. Look, I get it. I like some of that old stuff too. But you're not gonna get a large percentage of the crowd if you're not gonna get if you're gonna get an older crowd, but they're not gonna stay very long. They might leave at 10 o'clock. It's just, you're not going to get the kind of crowd that's going to end up coming there in droves and packing the place. Rock fans can do that. We did it for August Burns Red, and we tried tipping the benches. We didn't try and tip the benches for Skillet, but everyone was having a good time, and the place was just packed. So back to Atmosphere. I'm not a big Atmosphere kind of guy. The buddy who the girl thought he was cute, he's a huge Atmosphere guy, and I wrote it out. I tried to enjoy it for as much as I could, which I've done before. I was all right, but again, I kept thinking in my mind, I'd much rather have gone back to Skillet. I much rather would have gone back to Skillet. And then we left. We parted ways. They went on a bus back way west out of Milwaukee, and I started walking south. I called an Uber this time, though, instead of walking home. I only paid $15, which ain't that bad to go 3 miles, especially around that time. And the Uber driver was happy that I walked way away from where Summerfest was and out of the area where it is in order to get, easier pickup, easier drop off, all that kind of stuff. And then we were talking about music. I was talking about how I went to go see Skillet, and she's like, man, I really wish I went to go see Skillet. Knew a lot of people that would have loved to have gone to see Skillet, but most of them are not in town. I'm just like, oh man, just because I love seeing shows with people that really want to go see them. Because they'll go anywhere I want to go. And it usually means right in the middle. So that's usually where I have the most amount of fun. Or if I'm by myself. But yeah, so that was my July 6th day at Summerfest. And on the 7th, I think the headliner was it had Lil Wayne, Snoop Dogg, and 2 others at the amphitheater. Can't remember who was there. But it was just a hodgepodge of rappers. And that's just kind of how Summerfest ended. Overall, for Summerfest, let me think. I think for the acts that I saw, they got bringing Skillet back for the first time in a couple of years and August Burns Red, I was very pleased with both of them. I was more pleased with August Burns Red than Skillet, and I think that honestly is because, again, I got to stay for the whole entire thing of August Burns Red. I got to be in the craziness that it was. We got to try and tip the benches, and I had not seen up to that point. When it came to Skillet, I was comparing that show to the show I saw in March where I lost my shoe. And that's going to be hard to beat. That really is going to be hard to beat. But did I think Skillet put on a great performance? Do not get me wrong. They put on a great performance from the first half that I saw. Or the first half of the concert I saw. Second half, I'm not going to comment on because I unfortunately went to go see Atmosphere to appease the buddy. I keep saying appease. I mean, it was just kind of a compromise on our end, actually. But overall, again, Summerfest, I think I know what you're doing. I've talked about it before. I understand the move, but I would, again, like to see some more rock acts there. maybe next year. Let's see. Let me think of a couple of bands that'd be good to bring back for a 2020 Summerfest appearance that I would like to see. I like to see Rise Against come back to Summerfest, or just actually the rave in general. I'd like to see Rise Against just come back to Milwaukee. Even though if they come to Chicago, which they're there for Riot Fest, I'm gonna make sure I get there because I love seeing the band. If they get Hollywood Undead to come back, but they've been back for like 6 or 7 years to Summerfest. I saw they have been back to Milwaukee though, and I'd like to see them come back. Let's see who else I'd like to see come back to Summerfest, or rock bands to kind of show up out of nowhere. If they brought in some of the smaller ones too that aren't necessarily as popular as some of the bands, but could still have like a headlining, headline on a side stage. Someone like Tremonti, I'd love to see Tremonti. Alter Bridge, if they did that, they would definitely get the amphitheater for sure. If they somehow brought in Motionless in White for a ground stage headliner, I'd love to see that. And get some of the smaller bands too, just to bring them in like they have been. Let's get Ascending from Ashes and get Kingdom Collapse up here. And another small band that they sent me some of their stuff, and I gotta say I'm really digging it right now, is Gold, Frankincense, and Myrrh. They're a three female beautycore band, and I actually really like their sound. They will be featured as a small band Saturday feature upcoming when I get to whatever point they're at. But I'd love to see bands like that show up. I was going to say New Year's Day, but they randomly showed up this year, and I wasn't able to see the show. Let's see some other bands that I might give them, like, hey, maybe they couldn't show up and be a ground stage headliner, not a main stage. If Get Scared comes off hiatus, then yes, I'd love to see them come in. Let's see who else just off the top of my head, or I'm actually scrolling through my computer right now to see if I can pick anybody else out, but I think I've got a couple of good ones. Maybe let's get Sleeping with Sirens, they wouldn't get the amphitheater, but they could easily get a ground stage. So could Pierce the Veil, so could Memphis May Fire. So bands like that, I would love to see what they could pull off with something like that. But then again, it all depends upon if they're actually going to tour, if they want to play a show, timing, money, compensation, kind of all that stuff. But if they can't, guys, please come to the rave in Milwaukee, or go to Chicago, please, or go to Madison. But can you make sure I get to know about this stuff? Because I really want to see a lot of these shows. Alrighty, well, I mentioned earlier that when I was at Summerfest on July 6th, so when I was talking about the Skillet show, before, there was a period of time where I was completely and utterly alone. So it was from when I got to Summerfest to when my buddies showed up, my 3 friends. So it was about maybe 45 minutes, I would say. That'd probably be my best guess. And there was a point where, I just got real reflective, and I kind of want to talk about it with you guys because it's something that really hit me deep, and it's been something I've been thinking about a lot, especially, on my way back from the concert the next day, that Sunday, because I jumped in the pool and I swam for a good amount of time, and just thinking about it while I was swimming. But I was really thinking about music in general and why I've gotten so much more into it over the past 2 years than I ever have before. Actually, I'm going to say more like a year and a half. No, 2 years. I'm going to go 2 years because right around 2 years, that's kind of where it's like I really needed it and it was there. So I need to talk about, music. So I was thinking, I'm kind of down on myself. The fact of the matter is I'm doing a lot of things, but am I really doing something that's, making me fully happy? I know this is making me happy, but what about the other aspects of life? And why does it always, I'm driving places. If I'm driving places, why am I always having the windows rolled down? Why am I always blasting music? Why do I have the windows rolled up when it's colder outside and still blasting music full blast? Why is it when I work out, I do not want people to bother me because I do not want to take out my headphones? Why is it when I'm at work, I don't want people to bother me with questions or to stop me from listening to music or podcasts? And, why don't I want that? Why is it when I'm at home? Why would I love listening to music? So why do I like waking up to music? Why do I like taking a shower while listening to music? Why do I like doing almost anything with my music involved? When it comes to literally anything, even daydreaming, I love daydreaming when it comes to putting music together. I love the way I can put a story together with it all around the mood that specific song is bringing up. So I was really kind of down out, and I was thinking about it. It kind of got hard to think about at first, but after a while, I kind of started, landing on something. And the thing I kept landing on was music just kind of always is a place to make me happy. And a thing that always makes me happy. And what I mean by that is because I was walking into Summerfest, I had my iPod in. Like, I still have an old iPod. I don't use my phone for music, basically because both are gonna drain my battery a lot, and I always my iPod just it's trusty dusty. I still kind of rock with it. I'm old, I know, even though I'm only 24. I still kind of rock with it. It's fun. However, I just kept listening to it as I was walking through, listening to stuff like 3 Days Grace, Skillet, 30 Seconds to Mars, Rise Against, Hollywood Undead, Disturbed, some Beartooth, all that good stuff. But I kept thinking, why am I so into music? That was what I was thinking. And what I landed on was music is the only thing in life that can consistently make me happy. Now, what I mean by that is I've got aspects of life that make me happy all the time. I've got this is music, so like the podcast, all the My Song of the Day stuff, this is music, so this consistently makes me happy all the time, no matter what, without fail. I've got family that, for most of the time, makes me happy. I've got friends that, for most of the time, make me happy. I've got a full-time job that, for almost every single part of it, does not make me happy because it keeps me from doing this on a daily basis. Or not on a daily basis, on a, full-time employment. Well, actually, be like, for me, it'd be like double time still. I'd still work on this shit for like 14 hours a day if I could. But again, that's not in the cards when you work 9 hours a day and you still work out for like 2.5 just to get through that 9-hour day. All the travel time, working on it for another 14 hours is not in the cards, especially because the human body still needs sleep. When I'm alone, half time I'm happy, half time I'm not happy. Hanging out with someone, like seeing doggos. Did Kevin say doggos? Kevin said doggos. That most time makes me happy. But there's times where I usually just kind of get down and out, and just there's a lot of things that I get stressed or just get annoyed, even with people. I just sometimes get really annoyed with them, and it's just there's a lot of things that just do not consistently make me happy in life. But why is music the one thing that makes me consistently happy in life, and why am I so into it? And that's because it's an escape for me, honestly. It's an escape for me. It's a time. It helps me reflect. It helps me get back to who I am. It helps enhance the good in everything. And let me explain. This all kind of stemmed from when I was sitting there waiting for my friends and waiting for the opener for Skillet to come on. I had my iPod and I was listening to 30 Seconds to Mars. Now, again, I know a lot of people are like, wait a minute, you talk about how you like these bands that go a lot harder, and then 30 Seconds to Mars. 30 Seconds to Mars is, if I had to say, like, if some people are like, oh, is that your guilty pleasure band? In the terms of, it's a band that you wouldn't think I would fully like, but I really do like them, yeah, then it would be that way. But it's not like a guilty pleasure because I'm not holding it in. I totally freely say it. But why is that? Like, why am I so big on the band? And it took me a time to sit there and listen to them while I was waiting, and I figured it out. It's because everything seems to matter so much less when I'm listening to 30 Seconds to Mars. It kind of just takes everything that's going bad and puts it on mute. Now, I'm not saying it gets rid of it, but it kind of just is able to let me take a deep breath and get back to center and get back to who I'm, and all of a sudden helps me kind of focus on what I'm really trying to do in life, where I'm truly trying to go. And I know everyone has a band that's going to be like that. Everyone has an artist that's going to be like that. For me, it's 30 Seconds to Mars. I just don't know. It really just, it focuses me on the things that I should be focused on. And it focuses me on the things that are good in my life and the things that consistently make me happy. Hell, even some of the songs that aren't supposed to necessarily make you happy, like Attack, because Attack is just a lot harder. That brings me back to where I should be. The Kill is a little bit more depressing, and it brings me right back. I openly have said that I thought their fifth album, America, was one of the worst albums of the year 2010. I believe I said it was the worst album of 2018. That does not mean I dislike the band. I really do like the band, but it's just my honest opinion that I just did not like the album whatsoever. But a lot of the other stuff, it just brings me right back. Even some of the stuff that doesn't necessarily follow suit with what I really like in terms of music. If it doesn't follow suit to something like Something City of Angels doesn't follow suit, but I listen to it a good amount. Now they're just like closer to close to the edge, somewhat does a little bit, but it's like that softer stuff. It just like the real soft stuff. It just doesn't necessarily fit for me as you would think, but it does. It really brings me back to center. A band like Rise Against, it reminds me exactly who I am and makes me want to do what I want to do to make me happy. Hollywood Undead is the one that just lets me, if I'm getting mad at something, it's the one that just helps me get that anger out, and it makes me happy because now I've got an outlet for it. Disturbed is also one of those ones that helps me bring me back to center all the time due to the fact that I grew up in that time of inner turmoil when you're a teenager because you don't necessarily know what you're doing and you don't necessarily know where you're going, but they're the ones that help center me back in. So there's bands like that all over the place, and I honestly just love music for it. There are times where I could be completely alone and music is just fine. I love driving places all by myself on long road trips or driving back. Well, not necessarily driving back because that means my vacation's over. But what I love driving places all by myself, like if I have to go up to Minneapolis or if I have to go up to northern Wisconsin, excuse me, or if I have to go further west, why am I always listening to music? Why am I always listening to rock music or metal music? Because it just makes me consistently happy. And it's my time for me. It's my time to decompress, relax. Whether I be listening to King for a Day by Pierce the Veil featuring Kellen Quinn, whether I'm listening to Thoughts and Prayers by Motionless in White, whether I'm listening to Kings and Queens by 30 Seconds to Mars, or Savior by Rise Against, they all just bring me back to myself in the end. And it helps me focus on what really makes me happy in life. That's the real thing that I care about, is what's making me happy in life. And the thing that makes me happy in life is music. It's the only thing that consistently makes me happy. That's why I like going to concerts so much by myself, because it just lets me let it out. It just lets me let all inhibitions and all, not necessarily fear, but everything that, I dislike about myself or dislike about my current situation, it just lets me let it out like in a mosh pit. I can't get enough of it. I love going to shows for that specific reason, by myself. If I have to go with someone, if someone wants to join me in that area, I've got a couple of friends that would definitely like to join me around or in the mosh pit. I am more than happy to be there with them because I want to be in the same exact spot. Heck, if I get punched in the neck in the same spot twice in the span of 5 seconds at Motionless in White again, I'll still go back. I'll still go back because it gives me that kind of sense of inner satisfaction, inner sense of relief that the fact of the matter is I know something that can really help me whenever I'm going through whatever I want. Or not whatever I want, but when I'm going through something that I really don't like. It helps bring me back to who I am. It's not necessarily a return to normalcy, but it's definitely a return back to, yourself. It just lets you just get back into it, and oh man, I can't get enough of music, man. I think that's another reason, too, why I'm getting, on a Skillet kick. And I've been on a Skillet kick for a little bit now. Mostly because the messages, yes, I've talked about it before where when everything's very Christian-based, Christian rock-based, and it's like the influence is very clearly seen, it's very hard for me to get into some of those songs. But the harder songs, yes, the message is still there, but it just hits me in a certain way where I get determined as all hell. Like the Resistance or Feel Invincible or Not Gonna Die absolutely does that. I mean, it's my favorite song to listen to in the gym because it always gets me kickstarted no matter what. No, I don't always listen to it right at the beginning, but if I'm feeling down, I need a song. It's like, okay, I need a give me song. I need a song that's really gonna force the issue and really get me back on track. It's gonna be Not Gonna Die. It's also whenever I'm down, I'm on a rise against kick sometimes. Like in 2017, after I was going through just a horrible time in life, and one of the connections I had to that time where I'm not saying I went through a horrible time because of what I did to myself, what I did to my own brain. But the one thing I know I needed to do in order to get back to normalcy was I needed to take back my music for what it was. And I needed to get it back because that's what I really cared about. When it came down to sports, I used to love sports as much as I love music right now, but I don't anymore. And that year, the Vikings, that's when they went to the NFC title game and got smoked by the Eagles. But that Minneapolis Miracle game was one thing that made me just shriek for sheer joy. I get a feeling like that anytime I get to go see a concert. And it comes back. And I love that feeling. It helps me center. So back to this time in 2017, this was late September. I was just a miserable wreck and I did it all to myself. I know I did it all to myself and I'm not just going to, I'm going to admit that. But the one thing I knew I had to do to get back to myself was take back my music, and the band I needed to do take back in order to make that happen was Rise Against. Yeah, I paid $100 to go see them at JJO Sonic Boomfest in Janesville, Wisconsin, because I had to pay for both days. I didn't really want to see Five Finger Death Punch the next day because of everything I'd gone. I was exhausted. I just really wanted to go see Rise Against and take that back. And my God, it was for an hour and a half. I was just elated. Nothing mattered. All that mattered was that I was in a place where I was so damn happy. That's all that mattered. That is really all that mattered. And then I started taking back more bands, and now music is my thing. Music is all my thing. There are songs I couldn't listen to when I was going through at that point that I can listen to now, and I'm just like, you know what? It's okay. You remember the good. You remember the good times, and you learn from the bad. And you think, you just learn and go from there. Music is a time machine. It takes you back to certain times in your life through emotions and through emotional connections within your brain. I give songs like that too that take me back to when I was in high school, take me back to when I was in college. Heck, I mean, anytime, I'm going to use this as an example, anytime, yes, I mean, it's going to be away from rock music. Anytime the To Pimp a Butterfly album by Kendrick Lamar, every time I hear that, I always think about spring break with my college friends back in 2015. I always think of that, and I remember all the great times we had. Every time I hear Rise Against, all I think about is just my pure happiness. When I hear certain songs by 30 Seconds to Mars, I go back to Camp Mars. Whenever I hear songs by, whenever I hear a lot of songs by Disturbed, I can go back to when I was in middle school, to when I was ridiculed for, I was ridiculed for being different, but why that I like Disturbed so much is because I was different. This was something that I really enjoyed, and I was not afraid to say that I enjoyed it, no matter what people were going to say about it. People didn't say that much, but it was more kind of like, oh, you're kind of a devil child, so here's some Christian music for you to listen to. And they never gave me Skillet. They should have given me some Skillet. Well, I don't think Awake was out by then, so I would have to listen to just Comatose, and I do like 3 songs off of Comatose, so that could have worked, but but I digress. But there's just a lot of time. Breaking Benjamin's another good one, because right after, again, in that horrible 2017 period where I was just an absolute wreck, after I saw them play an acoustic show, and I mean, Breaking Benjamin gives me all the fucking feels. 3 Days Grace, I have great times with 3 Days Grace. Papa Roach, even Chevelle, Linkin Park, and now, I'm adding so many more bands like Skillet, Motionless in White. I'm adding more Sleeping with Sirens to that now. Even Black Veil Brides. I'm gonna even say, Black Veil Brides. I'm adding all these bands to this point where I just love music so much that they can make me so damn happy. They can just make me happy so much. And I know everyone has something in their lives that is like the thing that makes them unconditionally happy. Excuse me for the cough again. But what I mean by unconditionally happy is the thing that is so consistent whenever you listen to it, whenever you see it, whenever you feel it, whenever you taste it, whenever you smell it. It will make you happy without fail. And for some people, I don't think they ever really find it. And I implore you to find that thing for yourself. And it might change throughout time, because when I was younger, I thought it was going to be sports. Because anytime the Minnesota Vikings did absolutely fantastic, I was elated. 2009, it helped with 2017. Whenever they do good, it's like I always feel really good about myself. Whenever they do bad, it always kind of adds to it. And I knew I had to stop that, because it just wasn't necessarily making me always consistently happy. When 2018, when the Milwaukee Brewers making that run to the playoffs, and I got to run to the World Series, and I got to take my dad to Game 2 of the NLCS against the Dodgers, it was a playoff game that my dad and I got to go to together. I didn't even care that the Brewers lost in the end, because I got to spend a whole day with my dad doing something that we don't normally do together, and that's actually spend a great amount of time together. It's just because he's worked second shift. When we were younger, he still does, so I don't ever get to see him on the weekends. I need to work extra days on the weekends too, so I never really got to see him all that much. But then, I took him to Daytona for the Daytona 500 for his 60th birthday, and the amount of happiness that brought both of us was insane, more so him than me. So there's people that have sports that do it. I know a couple of guys that run a podcast that I was on at one point for, I think, like 16 or 17 episodes before we parted ways, because I was so much more interested in this that I was going to give my full attention to this. And that was going to be my podcast, and that was going to be all the My Song of the Day stuff. But then again, music is the thing that makes me consistently happy. The thing for them is sports, and that is more power to them. Some people, it's honestly, it's politics. Some people, it's just, family, friends. It could be anything. But I implore you to look deep inside yourself when you are, when you're feeling down. The next time you're feeling down, here's what I want you to do. Look deep inside yourself and think, what would be the one thing that if I were to do it right now would make me happy? And not necessarily right now, but if I was in this situation over and 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 over again, what would be the one thing I could do to always make me happy in all those situations without any super negative consequences? Because what I'm not saying to do is do not think, oh, if I do something that is illegal that makes me happy. No, don't do that. I'm saying like find your thing that makes you happy unconditionally, and consistently makes you happy. For me, again, it's music. And I really went deep on that, and I still don't think I fully understand it just because I don't think I ever will. I hope I understand it at one point, but we'll see what happens. That's why I love going to shows again. I just love being in that environment. Everything seems to go away. All the crap, all the extra drama, anything that's going on, it just goes away when you're standing in the crowd and you hear Rise Against play The Violence. When you're standing in the crowd and you hear Hollywood Undead play Everywhere I Go, and you're just laughing. When you hear Disturbed play The Light. When you hear 30 Seconds to Mars play The Kill. When you hear the Foo Fighters play Everlong. When you hear Breaking Benjamin play Diary of Jane. When you hear 3 Days Grace play The Mountain, because now that with Matt Walsh as their lead singer, I've got to pick one from Matt Walsh's era because I'm just going to go with it. When you hear Motionless in White and Chris Motionless play Eternally Yours. If you had a chance to hear Linkin Park play something like Numb or In the End. If you listen to Skillet play Not Gonna Die. If you hear In This Moment play Roots or Whore. When you hear, I could go on for days like this, but it's just every inhibition you hear just goes out the window. Any inhibition you have just goes out the window, and you're present in that moment, and it makes you so happy. I now know that does that for me, and I kind of understand why, but I really want to understand why so much more, because maybe it'll help you guys figure out what makes you unconditionally happy. Unconditionally happy, not unconditionally, Kevin. Come on, get it together. But unconditionally happy and consistently happy. You just gotta find it. You just have to find it. It'll make life. It'll make the good times so much better. It'll make the really bad times easier to go through. Again, it doesn't have to be music, it can be anything. But I kind of just went off on a little bit of a rant there, and I don't really mind because I've had to use that a lot lately, just the listening to music all the time. I mean, I have headphones in so much now. Especially, the gym, of course. At work, I have them in all the time. I really don't want to be bothered because I just want to listen to music or listen to podcasts or listen to new music so I can talk about it with you guys. I have them on at home. It's like the movies when, I know movies, but like you see the kids like just walk around with the earbuds in, not really saying much, just kind of focusing on whatever they're listening to. Yeah, that's kind of becoming me at 24. Just to get away from all the crap. Get away from all the bullshit, honestly. Whether it be bullshit that's going on in my own head or outside. Who knows? But man, what a rant. It was more of a calm rant, though. I didn't go, like, full-on just, like, ah! I didn't, go Alex Jones conspiracy theory. I didn't go Bill Burr. I didn't go, it was more like calm Joe Rogan-esque. But I know someone's going to be like, Kevin, that definitely was not Joe Rogan-esque, and I'm just probably getting obliterated for that by the fans. Now I'm sounding like Michael Keaton. Man, I got to say, sometimes doing these podcasts and getting scratchy voice, that's not good. So yeah, this is the second straight podcast I've done straight solo, and I think honestly the reason is just because I could easily do something with Summerfest, And I could also kind of just talk about myself, especially, how we had 4th of July coming around, holiday weekend. People are busy spending time with their family, friends, cookouts, just doing all that stuff. Or you're, doing backflips into a gorge. Or not a gorge, in a reservoir. If I do a backflip into a gorge, man, you might be dead. But if you do a backflip into a reservoir, you're pretty good. But that's pretty much going to be it on my end when it comes to all this stuff. Next week, I've got a guy that he actually wanted to be on the podcast after he actually listened to the podcast. And I want to have him on because I saw this guy. He sent me a list of stuff that he wanted to talk about. Apparently he's got some great stories. And I want him to share them with you. Well, I don't want to share them with you myself. I want him to share them with you because I love hearing your crazy concert stories, everybody. I love hearing all the crazy stuff that gets to happen to you. I absolutely love to hear it all. So I can't wait to hear what you guys got. But in the end, that's honestly going to be it for me because, again, one person, not necessarily the most amount of stuff to go off on, but that's what happens. But again, I want to give you one last huge thank you for listening to this episode of the Chord Progression Podcast brought to you by My Song of the Day, Rock 2000 to today. To all you fans there, guys, I love you. Mostly because the fact of the matter is this is my passion. This is all what I want to do. And you guys supporting me makes me so, so, so happy. So, again, thanks for listening. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast brought to you by My Song of the Day, Rock 2000 to today. And you guys know how I end all this stuff. YouTube videos, IGTV videos, Instagram live videos, podcasts. Simple. See y'all.